Welcome back to the Outlaw Ranch. I don't have a whole lot of time today, so I thought I would try and get this second lower link mount up on the other side. Hopefully I can learn from the lessons that I had to learn yesterday. We'll try and duplicate the process as much as possible. And I'm going to use these plumb bobs that I have strung up here as my measurements to make sure that they are the same distance away from the axle. That was the best way I could think to do it. So let's give this a shot. Let's see if I can't get some work done, and I'll take you all along with me. All right, so what I did was I got this piece of square stock here. It's just 2-inch, and I was making another spacer. If I line this up on there and we get these holes centered, it looks like that one's off just a little bit. So I'm going to come in here with a grinder a little bit, a die grinder, and see if I can't open this up just a little bit here. I even used a center punch, trying to get that to come out center. It didn't work, so stand by. I got a little work to do on that one, so it'll bolt together. All right, y'all, as you can see, I was able to get this all bolted together. So the holes, I was able to clean it up with the die grinder. I just used kind of a funny little rock bit is all on this die grinder. You can see kind of wore a groove in there too, but that's all I used to get that hole kind of wallowed out so that the bolt would slide through. Now I'm going to take this apart and clean up the edges so that I have a nice clean metal to weld to, and I'll see if I can't get it in place. Stand by. All right, y'all, this is something I kind of wanted you guys to see that I fought with on the other one a little bit. As you can see, I have these bolts pushed through, and if we look at the tops, see how they're not the same? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt these together, and then I'm going to get my angle grinder, and I'm going to try and true up this top edge like I did on the other one. I don't know if I showed you guys that on the last one. It doesn't mean that these parts are bad. These parts were all probably cut out on a CNC plasma, and that's why there's an angle on these parts. Okay, that's just from the plasma torch. It's up to you to make your parts, the same as best you can. You can see here we got a little bit of a lip there too, and it's okay. But this is some of the stuff that I've been fighting. I've been trying to eliminate variances, things that would cause variables and stuff like that. So I'm going to bolt these together, and I'm going to try and get that cleaned up. Stand by. All right, y'all, so what I've done is I've taken my angle grinder and I've come in here to make these the same plane all the way across. I've also used my straight edge here to try and make sure that I have everything nice and flat all the way across. And you can see here, it looks like I'm diving off a little bit at that end. So I am going to come back and try to get all of this down so that it's at that same plane as it is over there. And we just got to keep working it. So it's a slow process, but keep at it, you'll get it. Okay, so for what was only brief seconds for you guys, it took me quite a while. We are, ouch, it's hot, all nice and flat all the way across here until we get to about right here. Then it dives off a little bit. But as you can see, we have that high mark all gone. So now I'm going to assemble this thing and get it ready to go put underneath the truck. So stand by. Oh, the other thing, now that we have ground this off, just like we did on the other one, that doesn't mean that all four of them aren't the same. And if I had been thinking, I would have sandwiched all four of them together and done this together. It would have taken a lot longer. It's just a small grinder, but What we'll do is we'll measure to the center of the bolts from the ground on both sides and make sure that that bracket is the same height off the ground. So yeah, stand by. We're going to get this put together and see if we can't sling it underneath the truck. All right, y'all. We got this piece up underneath the truck here. And I have come to the conclusion that there are 5 measurements I need to get from that other, well, 2 measurements from that other side. The first measurement I need is from those bolts to the ground. And we need to duplicate that on this one. The second distance that I need to get from that other side is the distance from the back of that bracket to my plumb bob here. And I need to duplicate that onto this one, both in height and in distance from that string line. Then there are 3 measurements, once I get that kind of set, that I need to make on this. The first one is to get this, which is actually, I think it's at 0.5 again, which is amazing because I used a torpedo level at the time to get both of those level. Then I need to make sure that whatever this is, that this matches. The third thing I need to do is, just like on the other side, we need to put a level on this and make sure that it's not cattywampus one way or the other. So I'm going to get some measurements from that other side and see if we can't duplicate them on this side as close as possible. It may not be perfect. In fact, I'm pretty sure it won't be perfect, but let's see what we can get done. Stand by. Okay, we're making some progress here. As you can see, we're 0.6 with the right arrow pointing down. I come over here, you can see we're at well, dadgummit, 0.6 with the arrow pointing down. So that is parallel with the tubing. The other measurement that I've pulled is it was 24 1/8 to the front side of that bracket to the bottom. And so if I grab my tape measure here and we come straight down, straight as we can, we come down here, well, gosh, tape doesn't seem to want to work well with us here. You can see we're about 24 1/8. So that's the same. The last measurement that I have to pull is from the back of this bracket here to my string line. And I think it needed to be 52 1/8. And I don't know how I can do that and show you guys. So stand by. I'm going to try and get that to be the same. That would mean that this bracket is the same distance to the rear, helping to ensure that the lengths from left to right are as exact as I can make them. There is there's always a little margin for error, but the whole idea here is to try and get things as close as you can. Everybody's skill levels are going to be a little bit different, but you owe it to yourself to do the best work that you're capable of doing. Know thyself and seek improvement, and that's what I'm going to try and do here, is make this as close as I can. Stand by. All right, y'all. As you can see, we are straight up and down. Let's make sure that this didn't change here from one side to the other. 0.6, 0.6. We have it at 90 degrees that way. And let's double check this front measurement here again. I just twisted it ever so slightly to get that at 90 degrees. And you can see I'm off about 1/8 of an inch. I don't know how to get that any better. I do have the same distance. It was 52 3/16 from the back of that bracket to the string line. I think this is going to be as close as I can get it. I'm off 1/8 of an inch. I don't know. I'll go check the other side and make sure The other stupid thing that just came to mind here, guys, is I'm using this floor jack to lift that bracket into place. We need to make sure that we're not lifting the truck off the jack stands here. If I'm lifting the truck off the jack stands, then that means that that bracket on the passenger side won't be the same height as the passenger side, or the driver's side rather, because we're lifting the truck, we're not lifting the bracket. So I'm going to double check to make sure that the truck isn't coming off the jack stands, and I'll get back with you as soon as I get that bracket is close to the same height as the other one. So stand by, folks. Okay, so for what has only been a quick moment for you all, has been over an hour of back and forth for me. And after all that adjustment, I'm pretty much right back to where I started, with one exception. That is the distance from here to the ground. It is off 1/16 of an inch. I am 1/16 of an inch higher on this side than I am on the other. Now, what I've done is I've kind of gone back and forth and looked at the distance from the top of this tube to here to kind of make sure that it was similar, just, for the strength of welding and stuff. And it seems to be good. I am going to try and tack this in and go from there. It's as close as I know how to make it. The degrees are all dead on. It's just that one distance, and goodness gracious, the slab could be off that bad and I wouldn't know. So anyways, and just as kind of a quick thought here, just to kind of show you guys that the slab could be off that much. If you notice up in here, I have 3 blocks to the bottom of the frame. On this side, I have 3 blocks, plus some shims to get this frame level left to right. So that could be the distance, the difference there. We're trying to get measurements off of imperfect deals. It's not like I have lasers and stuff like that here. So anyways, that should be it. I'm going to tack that in, and we'll come back as soon as I get that done. All right, folks, everything is tacked in corner to corner here. Let's see how bad things have moved. 0.6 with the down arrow on the right side. Well, it seems like every time I move this, it changes a little bit. 0.7. Okay, so we're off about 0.1 there. That moved a little bit. This stayed completely vertical. And the other 2 measurements from the bottom of this down should not have changed, and neither should the length. We've changed 0.1 degrees, this way. I think I'm going to leave that. I don't know that I could get that any closer and keep the distances the same is the problem. That's what I was running into. I could get, 3 of the 5 measurements good, and then the 4th and 5th measurements were off, or I could get 2 one way or the other, and then the other 3 were off. So at this point, we have this distance from here to the ground is the same. We have the distance between the back of this and the plumb bobs back there is the same. We have this at exactly 90 degrees, this way, and we are 0.1 degree off from being parallel with this to this. So 4 out of 5. That's passing grade. That's 80%. We're going to stay with that. And that's really all I had in mind for this morning. I have to go to work today. I actually have a real job, so I got to go to that. And I still have some time, so I'll see what I can come up with. Maybe just a game plan for the next day or for my next weekend off. Maybe I'll get this rear axle put back where it needs to go exactly. and we'll get that shock removed. Just kind of clean up a little bit. And then the rest of the day, gosh, this floor and the shop, and I have so much crap out on my table here. So I guess we'll do some cleanup. So that should be it for the work that I'm going to get done today. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. It's, man, I've been very fortunate, very blessed with the few subscribers that I have. And I am very grateful to you guys that you would want to watch this stuff. So thank you. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate that. And again, we're just trying to, I make tons of mistakes, and I have no problem showing you guys the mistakes and the pitfalls I fall into. And my goal is to help some other people learn how to do this. So as always, like, share, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it very much. And we'll catch y'all on the next one. I know I already signed off, and I'm sorry. Just one last thing. Today is Veterans Day. So a big heartfelt thank you to all the veterans who sacrifice so much. Thank you to your families for supporting your veterans. I am so fortunate to live here and am very blessed to enjoy the freedoms that we have. And I can't thank you guys enough. Your sacrifices were great. And you all did jobs, you did chores that few others could. And I'm very grateful for you guys, for your hardships, for your successes. And I wish each and every one of you and your families a happy Veterans Day. Thank you so much. We'll catch y'all on the next one.